In this video, I'm going to be going over some of the issues remaining in this project, the ones listed on the screen now. Let's begin. So this is how the air blower object is supposed to work. You get on, you go into the blowing state, you get off, you're no longer in the blowing state. So I do that with both players. And here's where things get interesting. So player 1 can't move anymore, and this is because player 2 is within range of the blower. Player 2 is going away out of range, and now player 1 has control again. So you'd think, oh, that's okay, whoever gets in later gets stuck. Unfortunately, as shown here, if both players are in the blowing state, then the last player to be in the blowing state will be able to get out, but the other player won't. Also, if a player exists that's not in the blowing state and a player goes into the blower, it will not be able to exceed a certain height. The case where one player gets stuck is really common if you're playing neck to neck. Moving on, we have the partner despawn glitch. So here I'm just moving the camera back and forth with player 2 to despawn and respawn Sonic. What this is doing is putting the camera within the detect range, which is defined in the set object properties. So the expected behavior is that Sonic spawns once and then he's just there. And if I bring player 1 over here, you can see the triggers for Westopolis went off that are not affecting player 2. So now player 1's closer. I try again, still not close enough. If I zoom player 1's camera in, we can see that Sonic did do the show command and it didn't execute hide. This suggests it's basing his show off of player 1's camera position. On the note of triggers, key doors do not work for player 2. And I show that off in two different places. And here's player 1 using a key door. Probably should use the same one, but it just shows the behavior. And then real quick, I show that some triggers do work, like the tank object warp. Here I'm showing the 2D image is based off player 1's camera rotation. That also applies in the, if you look at player 2's top of screen, those little bubbles as well. Originally I thought this was a sprite issue, but worms really only target player 1. And now we're going to show off the Misc bytes issue. So right here, the worms instantly die, and that's because it did not have the bytes to prevent it from dying in the lava or whatever. And over here, the spawners are not working, so this is the last way, you're just stuck. Here we have Super Shadow, player 2 is not super. And just showing the homing attack of other players still works in Super Shadow. Moving on to Space Gadget, gravity switchers do not work. I'll show a couple of different scenarios. Player 2 hits the switch, affects player 1. Player 1 hits the switch, only affects player 1. If player 1 backtracks, player 1 does not get the new gravity, and that is actually exclusive to the 2P mod. Not sure what's causing that. Similarly, if you die, player 2 does not inherit the new gravity at that checkpoint. And I verified on the original game that if you warp, you should inherit the gravity at that checkpoint. My favorite issue, ziplines. If player 2 touches one, that happens. Player 1 gets warped to it. So what if player 1's already on one? Well, then nothing happens. It can happen anywhere, always warps player 1.
This can't be.
Vehicles are weird. So player 2 no longer has control the moment they get into the vehicle, except for their camera. And player 1's camera gets locked to the vehicle, and player 1's controls now control the vehicle. Once player 1 presses X to exit the vehicle, for player 2 has control again. An exception to this is if player 2 has a weapon and gets into the vehicle. Player 2 can shoot the weapon. That's the only difference. Compared to those vehicles, turrets are a lot better to work with. They only pull player 1's camera. Player 2 still has control. Obviously, catch is if you're taking away player 1's camera, once you get out, the chunk that player 1's at is going to be unloaded since you took that camera. So every boss in the game ignores player 2's presence, showing that off here. Both BlueFalcon and HeavyDog, their particle beam cannons do not affect player 2 for some reason. Collision with the boss and missile collision does work. An exception to this is Diablo and Sonic. That's the one boss that will attack the closest player. Weird issue I found with this boss though is after the first phase transition, player 2 gets warped. It's a minor thing, just strange. As you can see, particle beam cannon does work from this boss. So here, I'm waiting for my hero gauge to be really low. I use chaos control. It's 0 right now. I used it for a little bit while it's 0. My current code that shares the chaos powers, the trick is I just remove the setting cap when it reaches 30,000 or 0, and the side effect to that is underflow. So as you can see, I just killed a bunch of aliens and I wasn't getting any hero gauge, or at least it seems that way. Really, it's because the meteor was underflowed. So now I'm above 0 again. Last thing I'm showing off is just checkpoint behavior. So player 2 pressed X, then player 1 has control during the UI, and it only warps player 1. Doesn't matter where player 1 is. I plan to mimic restart behavior as I'm showing here, how it warps both players. This video did not cover any of the crashing issues. I'll probably go over that in another video. Most of the issues discussed should be resolved by 2.0, which at worst case should be coming out December of this year. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.